guys, welcome back to another episode of Manic Monday. I'm trying a different format here, so don't mind the double screens. If you don't know, I shoot all of my videos using Snapchat, so I just kind of go through and pick random filters to shoot the video in, and if I'm feeling it, then I use it. But anyways, let's get back to the Manic Monday. This is episode 4, I think. Thank you guys for staying tuned, staying loyal to the channel. I'm now up to 46 subscribers. I appreciate all of the support, and I hope you guys hang on for the long run. I don't know where this channel is going just yet, but I do know that I want to keep it going. I took a little hiatus because I wanted to kind of like plan my direction for Manic Monday, right? Because there's still like a lot of stuff that I would love to talk about with you guys. I covered friendships and relationships, but I never talked about, what I put my siblings through having BPD. Do you know what it's like to have a sister or a brother with BPD? You can't get rid of your sibling. You're pretty much stuck with them your entire life because you're blood related. And when you're growing up, you really don't have a choice because you're a child and they're a child. So you have no, you have to grow up with them. We don't pick our family, right? So I do want to kind of put together a timeline with my family as well. Mostly focusing on my siblings and what they had to deal with on a daily basis. Other than that, I would say we're pretty much caught up with everything. The last episode, it was really hard for me to like finally sit down and record. I haven't really talked to anybody like in depth about what happened since my previous relationship. Like he was the last person that I opened up to about like what happened to me. But other than that, I don't like talking about it, and I usually don't talk about it. So I'm thinking like that also played a part in my super long hiatus, but never you mind. Now that we're caught up, let's actually begin the vlogging of my everyday life, right? So just to catch up, I have not seen my therapist since she called me an alcoholic, and she said that I don't do anything but wake up and drink, which was incorrect. I was drinking a lot, but I still took care of my shit. So I think that rubbed me the wrong way. So that's why I haven't made another appointment with her. But I do plan on going back to see her because I do need the help. My psychiatrist, I'm still seeing my psychiatrist. We have been developing a better relationship. I feel like he's starting to understand me more, and maybe because it's been like a year that we've been working together now, so he's kind of had time to like put together a profile for me. You know what I mean? I feel like he understands me more when I go in the office now. Like I feel like it's less of a did he understand what I meant by that, or you know what I mean? I just feel like we're reaching a level of understanding now, which is awesome because I've had moments where I felt like I was going to give up on the therapy and the psychiatry thing because I just felt like I'm just getting like pumped with drugs, and I don't know. I kind of felt like, before my therapist started to insult me and get on my nerves, I felt like she was just kind of like validating everything I was saying just to validate everything I was saying. Like there was no actual logic behind her validating the things that I was saying. I kind of felt like she was just kind of like saying whatever to me to make me feel better, not really helping me work on what I need to work on. I don't know if I'm making sense, but I kind of felt like she was a yes man until we started butting heads. But anyways, never you mind. I'm going to make another appointment with her sometime this month so I can get back in the rhythm of therapy, at least until I can gather the mental strength to find a different therapist, which I've heard is like a thing within the BPD community. I mentioned a couple episodes ago, I'm in a BPD community on Facebook, And just about every other week, there's a participant who's like, switching therapists again, switching therapists again. I was with this therapist for 5 years. I'm switching therapists. Like, I don't know if it's our condition or if it's the workforce within mental health, but apparently changing therapists is just like changing underwear in the mental health community. So that's something I'm going to have to get used to. I don't like sudden changes, especially if they're like back to back to back. I like to stick to my routine. I like to go to the same place for the same things, the same person for the same things, pay the same price. I like routine. Okay. I don't like when I have to improvise, because then I have to think extra hard, and I don't like to think extra hard because then I throw myself off. I told y'all I just found out I got ADHD. So there's a lot of wheels turning up here at once throughout the day. And yeah, but anyways, so that's happening. Now, as far as my personal life goes, I have been making some questionable decisions still. Let's start back at Thanksgiving. Now, maybe like a day or two before the actual holiday, I get a phone call from the father of my children. He's explaining that he's in town, he's close, he wants to see the girls. Now, as you've learned from my previous videos, I've never been one to keep him from seeing the girls, talking to the girls, interacting with them at all. So, of course, I was like, yeah, sure, let's plan something out. I'll be up towards you for the holiday at my mom's. We can, powwow and then go from there. So, the day comes where we have to go out of town, and, I'm giving everybody a ride. So, I had to give my little sister a ride. My daughter went up there. My oldest daughter went early with my brother out of town. So I only had to take my youngest daughter, my sister, my niece, my nephew. No, my niece. Did my niece go ride with me? My niece didn't ride with me. It was me, my sister, my nephew, and my daughter, my youngest daughter. And I was supposed to pick their father up along the way. So he sends me an address to this shady looking building in the city. It's nighttime. I had to work this day, so it's like 7 or 8 o'clock once I'm rounding everybody up to go out of town. We get there, and he's escorted out by an older lady. So I'm kind of confused because I don't know where he sent me, and I don't know who this is. So he walks to the car, and he introduces her as his mom. So, I let him introduce Nova to his mom, and they kind of had their little thing for a couple minutes, and we left. The entire car ride, he's silent. He's kind of like talking to the kids in the back, but, he's kind of like, everybody's vibing, right? Because we're on the way to my mom's, and me and my siblings, we always get super tense when it's time to go to my mom's house. So me and my sister are in the front kind of talking about the family and what to expect. We're hitting my little vape pen or whatnot, and I let him hit the vape pen because I'm sure he had a lot of nerves, because the last time he saw my family, they wanted to beat his ass. So we get to the house, and, Joel's excited to see him, of course. And, he spends Thanksgiving with my family so he can see the girls. Now, the day comes, this is the day after Thanksgiving, the day comes to leave. So, I'm asking him, like, where are we going? Where am I taking you? I have to take my sister home on my way home. So where are you going? So we're packing everybody up. We're packing up the plates. And him and my oldest daughter are like passing notes on the table. And I'm like, okay, ignored it, whatever, they're bonding. I don't get in the middle of that. So then he passes the note to my side of the table. And I'm confused. I read the letter, and it says, hey, Joelle just asked me if it was okay if I could move in. I'm at my family's house, right? I don't handle my personal business in front of my people. I learned my lesson when I was younger, not to get them involved with my shit. So I'm like, okay, we ain't talking about this here. Let's go to the crib. So I drop my sister off, and I bring him back to our house. We tuck the girls into bed, and he just gets to apologizing. Oh, I'm sorry, I left you again. And he gets to telling me about all the things he was doing since he's been gone, how he's gotten married twice, once spiritually, once legally, and how he's going through a divorce now, and things didn't work out, and the ex-wife was abusive. It was just like a whole sob story, right? So And I'm like, oh, okay. I've always wondered what you've been up to, so it's nice to be filled in now. But now that you're here, what are your plans? Because I need help. You're not just going to be here lounging around on the couch. You know what I mean? So there were talks of him getting a job. We went to temp agencies. He was going to, help out around the house with the food, with the bills, with the girls. That was the plan. Night three, he starts like he's getting flirtatious now. So now we're kind of flirting with the boundaries of like being intimate. Not once did I think like we're gonna be like romantically involved. Like I thought he was just gonna move in, help, get his own spot eventually, and we were gonna co-parent. According to him, that was his worst nightmare coming back. He didn't want that. But it's like you disappeared for 2 years, then you return and you expect me to not only accept you back into my life, but then also be romantically involved with you and trust you again to get into another relationship with you. And he was talking about getting me pregnant again. And this time he wants to get married. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is too much at once. You know what I'm saying? It's so many red flags. Because here you are, and we're moving fast again. So we end up becoming intimate. And now that's like blurring the lines. Because I have no interest in being romantically involved with him, like on a serious note. Not only because I still need to get my shit together mentally, but because I don't trust him. And I don't even know if I like him anymore. You know what I'm saying? On a level to where I would allow him to impregnate me and get me and marry me. You know what I'm saying? Maybe before he left, like when I was still pregnant with Nova, I probably would have entertained the idea just because I was more interested in keeping back then I was more interested in keeping the family together. I did not want another baby daddy. I did not want to be a single mom with 2 kids. Then I was more in the mindset of like keeping us together. But after he left me the second time and I had the second baby by myself, all that kind of died with that. It's like clearly he's not the family type and this isn't going to go anywhere. So yeah, all of that, all those dreams pretty much dead and gone. I think he was expecting the same version of myself that he got before I got pregnant with our second child, but I'm not her anymore. I don't have hope for us being together, and I don't think it's gonna happen. Even though it would be ideal for the children, it's just not gonna happen. So I had already gave up on the dream, but apparently his dream was still alive and living. Like the way he explained it was he figured out he was running because he actually loved me and he didn't know how to love me properly, and so he pushed me away. And it sucks that his epiphany came after I lost feelings, but here we are. So about a week or two in, right, he gets a temp job. He's helping with the girls, he's helping around the house, and then he stops going to work. He explains that he feels like they don't have anything for him to do when he's there. And he feels like he's like taking up space and it's taking his energy, and he doesn't want to go to work there anymore. But instead, he wants to work on a farm for $200 a week.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Now, if you live in this economy, especially if you live alone or alone with children, you know that $200 a week is not going to do anything. A 2-income household barely provides for the modern day family. So adding $200 to a single income household certainly isn't going to make much of a difference. And it just didn't seem to calculate for him. Like he felt like as long as he was doing something, then it should matter. But you have to travel to get to this job. That's money that you're spending to get to this job because it's not in town. And then you have to spend money on what you're going to eat, your lunch. You have to spend money on all types of things. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, it was just, he wasn't understanding that we were using more money than we were making. And I didn't know how to sit down and explain it to him. And then everything was just going too fast. Like, we were having sex, and then he was talking about marriage. Then he was talking about having another baby. And it pushed me to a point where I basically freaked out. I felt myself, and this is where I credit my psychiatrist and my therapist, because before I allowed myself to split, get comfortable, and just stay in the situation, I took action, because I realized I was being triggered. The action being, I had to have a conversation with him. Like, it got to the point where my nerves were so bad, I couldn't sleep through the night. Like, the day we had the conversation where I had to put him out, I was up at like 4 a.m. Went to bed pretty late. I think I went to bed at like 11:30, 12 o'clock that night, and I was up by 4. So I knew that it was bothering my spirit. So he wakes up because he feels me moving around, and we finally have the conversation. I basically let him know, like, every time you come around, nothing good happens for me. I end up with a child, and I end up alone with no financial resource, no financial help. There's really no family support from his side. And, basically whenever you come around, I end up fucked. And then you leave whenever you feel like it. You don't take a kid. You don't check on the kids. You don't send support for the kids. You just disappear for months until you feel like resurfacing. So to follow through with this for the third time is insanity. To do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result is insanity. And I'm done being insane. So I had to have a conversation with him, and I did. You don't have a driver's license. You're not supposed to be living with me because you're not on my lease, and you can't get on my lease until you get an alpha report. An alpha report from which you need from a different state, which would mean you'd have to travel again. And who's going to pay for that? Me? And then who's going to pay for a new house once we get put out because you're not supposed to be here? Me? You don't want to hold a real job. There's nothing wrong with side work. There's nothing wrong with hustling if it is adequate enough to support yourself. If it's not adequate enough to support one person, how would it be adequate enough to support 4 people? Now you're putting more financial stress on me because I'm the only one with a job, like a real job. So, no. I told him, like, I worked hard for everything in this apartment, and I'm not going to lose it because of you. I'm tired of losing stuff because I'm following in behind you. I told him my lease is up, in a couple months. And his idea was to take all of us out of state. Sir, we moved away with you 3 hours. And you did not act right. Why would I go to another state with you where you can abandon me? And anything could happen. I could die. We could get killed on the streets. Like, anything could happen. We can get kidnapped. Like, the list goes on. I don't trust my safety with you, let alone my heart. So leaving the state, I had to draw the line right there. So I was like, oh, no. Now, there's, of course, like, a few things going on with me, too, right? That I throw in there because I don't want him to feel like it's me going, You know what I'm saying? I also tried to explain to him as best as I could, like, I'm not mentally together. My last 2 situations are still affecting me on a day-to-day basis. I still have flashbacks to, the domestic violence situation. I still have flashbacks to when I was picking up my shit out of the snow last year because this asshole wouldn't let me get my stuff out of his house. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's still a lot of shit I'm dealing with. And he even said it himself, like, oh, when you wake up, you're mean, or you're just like, I don't know if this is the BPD thing. I don't know if this is like a universal thing with us, but like, waking up, do not fuck with us for at least an hour. Like, waking up is, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I've tried to explain this to my therapist. I tried to explain it to the lady that did my psych eval. I tried to explain it to my psychiatrist. For me, waking up is equivalent to having on wet socks, getting a paper cut in an inconvenient spot on your hand. It's equivalent to having a pimple inside of your ear. It's not detrimental. Like, it's not enough to send us over the edge, but it's it's like having a tack in your shoe. Wait, just waking up. Just waking up, becoming aware of your surroundings and opening your eyes. This isn't including, your first encounter with a person. This isn't including seeing the first thing, on your phone or visually. This is just waking up. I feel like for us with BPD, when we wake up, we have a lot of residue from the day before. For a lot of people, when you go to sleep and you wake up and you start a new day, it's that. It's just that, a new day. A new day, a new slate. Fuck yesterday. Every once in a while, you might have a bad day to where you wake up the following day and you're still kind of rummaging over it, but it doesn't happen all the time. For people with BPD, it's every night and every morning. The smallest inconveniences is like salt in a wound for us. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when we get up in the morning, or at least I know when I get up in the morning, I don't like to talk. I don't like to smile. I don't even like to make eye contact. But if I'm ignored, of course people are going to be like walking on eggshells around you because it's like, what's her problem? But if I'm ignored, that's like triggering for me. Still acknowledge me, even though my attitude is fucked up. But don't over engage with me because I'm not in the space to engage in a healthy way. For me, it always feels like a minute or two of possession. Like I'm not myself for a good 30 minutes to an hour when I wake up, and then everything is fine. But for some reason, like I don't even have to have a bad dream. Sometimes I just wake up and it's just like impending doom. You know what I mean? Everything is bleak. Everything is dark. God. It's like, God help me, another day, right? And I think that's why it's important for people with BPD to have a routine. I noticed I don't really have a solid routine. I do my day differently every day. And that adds a lot of stress because like I said, there'll be moments throughout the day where I have to switch it up because of an inconvenience, and I have to use my extra brain space to figure it out. And sometimes I don't have extra brain space because I'm stressed out about whatever's going on in my life. Then I'm stressing out, I have my own little square BPD brain inside of my regular brain, which is always active with regrets, past memories, heartbreaks, traumatic events that just, thoughts of it just flicker and intertwine throughout my regular thoughts throughout the day. So sometimes I don't have the extra space because I'm emotionally responding to so much that's going on in my mind already. To take an extra 5-6 gigabytes to think is, the system crashes. I break down and cry. I get so mentally exhausted that I get actually exhausted and go to sleep. Or I get upset. I get angry. I get really angry. And I'm surprised none of my my team of healthcare workers have suggested anger management because I can get really, really pissy, and it's kind of scary, especially because the only people that witness it is my kids. I don't really go out. I don't really have any friends. I don't socialize and hang around people because I don't have full control over myself. I'm working on fixing these things within myself so I can mingle with people. But right now, so I'm explaining all of this to him. I think I talked to him for like an hour and a half, maybe an hour straight. And he just took it personal. He took the entire thing personal. He felt like I had made him believe that I was wanting what he wanted, and then I suddenly had changed. With me, it's like when I get into a relationship, I sacrifice myself to go along with whatever the person, ideally wants or what they're attracted to. I try to morph myself into that person. Is that a good thing? No. Does it need to change? Hell yeah. Like, I can't be in a relationship pretending to be someone else because then I won't be able to be myself. And, just a whole lot of drama and miscommunication and confusion happens in between. So the next relationship that I get into, I very much want to be myself thoroughly and fully, perfect and imperfectly. I'm not morphing and changing myself to be perfect for anyone or any situation ever again, because it's never leading me to a good ending. So he's like, yeah, I'm going to make myself scarce by the end of the day so you don't have to worry about me spending the night again. I got to make some calls and make some arrangements. He drops our oldest off at school. He goes to the river for X amount of hours. And when I get off work, he's like, yeah, I have an address to my friend's house. You could drop me off and, we'll keep in touch. So we're heading out, and the address turns out to be an address to a truck stop. My oldest is crying. She's hysterical. And, they hug and they say bye. And I can't even be like, oh, don't worry, sweetie, he's going to call you, because he's not going to call. Like, at least, or I don't know he's going to call. I can never be certain of what he's going to do. So I can't even comfort our daughter in a way like, don't worry, he's going to call you. Don't worry, he's going to text you. You don't have to be sad. You're going to hear and see him again. We don't know when we're going to hear from him or see him again. We never know. I didn't even know what to say to my daughter to comfort her, because I don't know. I never know what he's going to do. So the best thing I could come up with was he has to go handle some business that we can't we can't be with him handling. And he'll be back sometime to visit, and he'll call when he can. I tried to phrase it like that without making it, without having her expect anything. Because who has to tell her he's not answering the phone? Who has to tell her he's not ignoring you? It's just because he can't talk right now. Who has to tell her, like, oh, you haven't seen your dad in 5 months because he can't come see you, or because of this or because of that? I do. I have to make up the excuses because he's not here. And since he's been gone, our daughter has been making most of the calls. Our daughter has been the one. Let me call dad. Let me talk to dad. Let me check on dad. Have you heard from dad? And then he has the nerve to tell her, tell your mom to text me before you call. If you can't talk, you can't talk. Don't answer the phone. But if she calls and you're in a space to talk, then answer the phone and talk to her. So, just making things difficult. But I don't know. I hope we come into some type of co-parenting agreement. Some type of arrangement where our children don't feel abandoned by him. And, they can still have both of us in their lives. So, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in episode 5.